The air in the studio didn't just feel cold. It felt engineered that way. The lights were bright but icy, the kind that washed everything in a sharp, unforgiving glow. The set of the Megyn Kelly show gleamed like polished glass, blue panels pulsing with the show's graphics, a sleek desk with chrome edges, and beyond it, a small live audience murmuring in low, uncertain whispers. Some clutched their coffees, others leaned forward with that particular energy people get when they sense a collision coming but don't yet know how big it will be. Megyn Kelly sat at the center of it all, poised like a statue carved out of courtroom discipline. Her back was straight, shoulders relaxed, fingers loosely curled around a pen tapping in a slow, steady rhythm. Her face carried that unreadable composure she'd perfected through years of live debates, political takedowns, and interviews that went sideways without warning. She wasn't nervous. She wasn't excited. She was waiting like a lawyer who already knew the verdict but was willing to let the witness walk themselves into trouble. Across from her, Prince Harry slumped into the guest chair with the restless energy of a man already annoyed he's in the room. His navy jacket was sharp but wrinkled at the midsection, his white shirt open at the collar as if even buttons were too constricting. Jaw tight, eyes flicking between cameras and crew members, he adjusted his lapel, microphone with the impatience of someone forced to participate in what he considered a low-grade nuisance. He wasn't here because he wanted to be. He was here because someone on his team convinced him the optics might help. The floor manager held up 3 fingers, then 2, then 1. The red light snapped on. "Good evening and welcome to the Megyn Kelly Show," Megyn said, her voice smooth as steel polished to a shine. "Tonight, we're joined by a man who needs no introduction, Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex." Polite applause rippled across the studio, though polite was doing a lot of work. The audience wasn't sure which version of Prince Harry they were getting: the wounded son, the outspoken critic of the crown, the celebrity activist, or the man who seemed hell-bent on burning every bridge he once stood on. Megyn turned toward him with a warm but professionally distant smile. "Harry, thank you for being here." He gave her a curt nod, not even attempting to return the warmth. "Well," he said dryly, "apparently I'm everyone's favorite talking point these days. Might as well show up once in a while and fix the nonsense." A few people chuckled, unsure if they were supposed to. Megyn didn't flinch. "We're glad you chose to correct the record here," she replied. "You've told your story in books, interviews, documentaries. Tonight, I'd like to go deeper than the headlines." Harry smirked. "You mean deeper than the narrative you and your colleagues like to push." She let that slide with a faint nod. "Let's start simple. How are you? Not as a public figure, not as a royal, just as Harry the person." He exhaled sharply as if the question offended him with its simplicity. "Life is tolerable," he replied. "Quieter than what I left behind. Still annoyingly loud because people like you insist on dragging me into conversations I never asked for." Megyn raised one eyebrow. "You did agree to this interview." "No," he corrected. "My team agreed to give you a chance. There's a difference." That landed like a slap. The audience shifted, the discomfort palpable. Megyn's tone didn't change. "Fair enough. Let's earn that chance. You've described the monarchy as toxic. Looking back, do you feel freer now? Or is there anything you miss about royal life?" He laughed without humor. "Do I miss being told how to stand, how to smile, how to mourn properly? Do I miss being a decorative prop in ceremonies? No, I don't miss any of it. Not even the sense of service?" She pressed gently. "The connection to your country?" He gave her a look that suggested she'd asked the world's dumbest question. "Service doesn't belong exclusively to palaces and parades. I don't need a golden building behind me to help people. That's why I'm in America. America gets it." A few audience members visibly bristled. Megyn tapped her pen once on her notes. "Let's talk about your mother." The air tightened. Even the lights seemed hotter. "Princess Diana remains deeply loved around the world," she continued. "When you look at your life now, do you think she would recognize or approve of the man you've become?" Harry's jaw hardened. "My mother would understand better than anyone why I left," he said. "She knew what the press could do. And frankly, I think she'd be disgusted by people like you using her name for ratings." That punch landed harder than the previous ones. Megyn didn't blink. I'm asking because you made her central to your story. Your book, your interviews, your documentary. So it's reasonable to ask what she might think. Right, he said slowly, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Another journalist acting like they knew her. Like you can speak for her. Forgive me if I don't find that genuine. A ripple of discomfort moved through the crowd. Megan folded her hands. Millions of people cared about her, and many care about you. Some sympathize with your journey. Others feel you've turned pain into a brand. Do you understand that criticism? Harry's eyes flashed. I understand that people like their trauma tidy and quiet. They want my mother as a poster. They want me as a grateful mascot. I'm not here to make anyone comfortable. Is that why you keep speaking out? She asked. Because you're not done being heard? He leaned forward. I speak out because no one listened when it mattered. Now they have to. That's the difference. And the money? Megan said lightly. Book deals, streaming projects, interviews. A lot of people see your story as extremely profitable. He smirked. Ah, jealousy. Tell me, Megan, do you donate your salary to charity? Or is it only royals who aren't allowed to earn a living? The audience reacted with a mix of shock and uneasy laughter. It's not jealousy, Megan replied calmly. It's about consistency. You say you want privacy, yet you keep putting your life on display, on your terms. It's my job to ask, she continued. And tonight you agreed to answer. We'll see, he muttered. The pressure in the room thickened like fog. Megan turned the page. Let's talk about your brother. You and Prince William were once incredibly close. You wrote about your conflicts, even physical ones. Where does that relationship stand now? None of your business, Harry said coldly. You put those conflicts in your book, she reminded him. You made them public. And you bought the book, he snapped. Congratulations, the audience murmured. I'm asking whether there's hope for reconciliation, she said. Many people with fractured families are watching. He shrugged. People love reunion fantasies. My life isn't a Hallmark movie. Do you miss him? She asked quietly. No, Harry answered too fast. Next question. She noticed the flicker in his throat, the split-second glance away. She tucked it away like a lawyer noticing a crack in testimony. She shifted to his life in America, his work, his family, his new chapter. But the real unraveling hadn't even begun. The commercial break hit like a mercy bell. Lights dimmed slightly. Crew members shuffled around. A makeup artist approached but froze at Harry's expression and retreated. Megan looked over. You okay? Harry gave her a sideways glance. Are you? She smiled gently. I've done this before. That's the problem, he muttered. Before she could respond, the countdown began. The red light came alive again. We're back with Prince Harry, Megan said. Let's talk about something you've repeatedly emphasized. Privacy. Yet your public presence has only increased. Documentaries, memoir, podcasts. Do you see why people feel you're building a public identity around grievances? Harry leaned back, a lazy smile forming. I see why people who only read headlines would think that. But I expect more from so-called serious journalists. How would you frame it? She asked. As survival, he said. As reclaiming a life that never belonged to me. You call it grievance because you're uncomfortable with truth. I've questioned institutions my whole career, Megan countered, including the monarchy. I'm not uncomfortable with truth. I'm uncomfortable with half-truths. Oh, please, he scoffed. You think you know the whole picture? She didn't take the bait. Instead, let's talk about Megan. A low hum swept across the room. She's deeply polarizing, Megan said. Some see her as a victim of racism and abuse. Others see manipulation. How do you see her? Harry didn't hesitate. I see the only person who ever understood me. The only one who saw me as human, not as a title. That offends people? Megan asked if he felt any of the criticism of Megan was fair. No, he said instantly. None at all? None, he repeated, laughing under his breath. She pushed staffers, journalists, people who worked with her. All liars, he snapped. Anonymous cowards. Some have put their names on their accounts, she said. Are they all lying? Yes. The audience tensed. Megan continued. You've accused the British press of racism and cruelty, serious accusations. Do you regret offering so little specificity? No names, no evidence, just sweeping claims. His eyes chilled. You want names? You want a list of people to feed to the wolves? That's not accountability. That's blood sport. Accountability means details, she said. Verifiable claims. You've painted an entire press corps as racist without offering anything specific. That's convenient, isn't it? He snapped. You don't get to decide what my truth looks like. I'm not deciding it, she replied. I'm asking where responsibility ends and revenge begins. The audience gasped. Harry leaned forward. You love that word, revenge. It makes for a nice segment. The revenge tour of Prince Harry. Lazy. Meghan's patience thinned. Trauma is real, but so is pattern. And the pattern is, whenever someone asks a hard question, you accuse them of bad faith. Is that how you do it? He shot back. Deflect your industry's role by pretending you're the brave truth-teller? She held his stare. I'm asking questions. You haven't answered one. Silence crackled between them. He shifted, briefly revealing the discomfort he'd been hiding under irritation. This isn't a courtroom, he said finally. I'm not on trial. You put your family on trial, she said softly. In your book, in your documentary, in interviews. You cross-examined them publicly. People expect you to face a sliver of that scrutiny yourself. I told the truth, he said angrily. If they don't like how they look, that's not my fault. It is your responsibility, she said, because you chose to tell it. For profit. That word inflamed something deep in him. You're obsessed with my earnings, he snapped. Does it bother you that I have money outside the palace? Or that I didn't ask the media's permission to earn it? It bothers me, she said, that you pretend the money has nothing to do with the story you're selling. There's a difference between telling your truth and monetizing it repeatedly. He glared. You want me broken for your narrative. Tears on cue. A sad little prince. I want honesty, she said. And what I see is blame without self-reflection. The audience murmured, louder this time. Meghan turned another page. You've said you left the monarchy to protect your children, yet you've kept your story alive in the global spotlight. Aren't you worried that one day they'll see a man who said he escaped, but never stopped talking about what he escaped from? Harry swallowed, slow and controlled. My children will understand why I left. Or, Meghan said quietly, they might wonder why their father kept fighting ghosts instead of building a life free of them. That landed like ice water. Harry stared at her, his voice low with disbelief. Is there a version of this conversation where you don't assume the worst of me? Yes, she said. It begins when you stop assuming the best of yourself. Harry's mouth tightened, and the red light on the camera kept glowing, capturing every second as a prince who came to control the narrative realized this was one room where he couldn't